Let's get on to Mo'unga because we might as well talk about it off the bat, Mark. And, again, a kind of a cameo performance from him. And I asked TJ yesterday whether he saw enough. Tony was calling that game just to suggest that he could slot straight back in. I think he can't he? Look, even if he went over there and arrived 10 days before the first test, I just kind of think that he knows how to prepare for an All Black test. That's once you've done it as many times.
He's played 56 of them or something, hasn't he?
Look, he was a bit nervous, understandably, in the first few minutes of that NPC game. But I just think we've got to be a bit careful about reading too much into that form, don't we?
I mean, NPC didn't play particularly well, did he? I mean, he did what he had to do. It's NPC. Defences are a little bit light, but he's quality, isn't he? It's the old saying, class is permanent. Form comes and goes. Class is permanent. I mean, if he was to go over there, you'd probably, he'd train reasonably hard. You'd probably give him a game, half a game.
I think so.
I don't think you'd start him necessarily. I mean, you'd have to lose all three first 5/8 to probably start him initially, but you'd certainly have him ready for the, you'd make come off the bench the first time he plays, but certainly he'd be ready to go. I mean, look, he knows what to do, but also too, you just say to him, to just play the percentages initially, mate. Just do the basics right. We don't need you to be too clever. We've got enough X factor out wide. I mean, it's still laughable, though, isn't it? We've got this biggest series of our life. Here's a guy fully fit, playing rugby for Canterbury. We're dealing with the smallest of margins, but we still can't have him on a plane.
It doesn't seem right. Yeah,
stretch my head, mate.
Yeah, and for New Zealand Rugby, which I think are making real progress in terms of the sensibility of their decisions and administration that can sack an All Black coach, unprecedented for the first time ever, on the back of player feedback as opposed to results, because his results, when you look at them, they're not that bad. It's not like he lost 5 in a row like John Hart did in 1998, for example.
Yeah,
right?
well, mid-70% it was more than Ian Foster, who didn't get sacked. So
they can make that decision, but they can't. What have they painted themselves into such a corner by just constantly saying we're not going to do it, that they just don't want to turn around? It's like mum and dad saying you're not going out, and then they're thinking, oh well, it's actually not that bad, it's only to the neighbours, but they just don't want to change their minds.
You can't make any sense of it, can you? The only thing that I can see, they're trying to stop the talent drain from going even more.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know it is going. No, it's absolutely pointless. They're just trying to slow it down. The thing I like about Richie Mo'unga is that he missed that kick that could have potentially won the game. He made some mistakes, but when the game was on the line, he went hunting for that ball on the ruck and then just picked it up and ran past Auckland like they were kids and scored the winning try. Like that guy loves the big moment, and there'll be massive moments in South Africa that we need him for.
Are you happy, both of you guys? We'll start with you, Mark, in terms of our goal kickers. Ruben Love was pretty good against all three opponents. And then who's our next best after him? I would consider
Damien?
Yeah, I'd consider Mo'unga would be the next best after him, wouldn't he? So you've always got to have a backup kicker as well. I
think Geordie Barrett's a very good goal kicker, isn't he? Geordie tends to take the ones a little bit longer out.
Yeah.
I don't think Geordie Barrett's a bad kicker at all. I don't think we've got a problem. I think we've got McKenzie, we've got Love, we've got Barrett. I think we've got 3 guys that could kick. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you asked John, probably Ethan de Groot could probably kick as well, mate.
Absolutely. Could
he what, yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't think there's an issue with goal kicking there. It's a confidence thing, isn't it? It's it's about getting into a rhythm. The ball is when you're playing at altitude, the ball's going to travel a lot further. So, you're going to have to be really careful. Penalties inside the 50-metre mark, guys are going to be taking shots at goal there. So that's another thing they're going to have to factor into place as well. And that's where I think Geordie will step up.
Although, did Geordie and Richie Mo'unga both miss vital kicks in the World Cup final?
But I'm thinking actually 60 metres, Mark. I'm thinking 10 metres on the other side of halfway. I mean, I've watched Gerald Bosch kick these in 76. We saw John Preston step up in 96.
Brian Williams. He used to kick the long range. Don Clark. Zinni dropped goals from 40 on the angle.
Is there such a thing as home advantage? Talked about this with Chris Jones yesterday, and it got me thinking just in terms of if the tour was here, if they were coming here in their current state with their current depth and the back-to-back world champs and everything, would we be looking at home advantage as the thing that might tilt it slightly in our favour?
Well, they've done massive studies on this at universities, and apparently rugby union, especially international rugby union, is massively skewed in this stat in terms of home advantage. Like there is a big points advantage compared to other sports. But this is where it gets weird. The Springboks and All Blacks completely buck the trend because the All Blacks win so much overseas, so much more than other teams do. And then South Africa in recent times have also come to New Zealand and beaten us over here. So yes, normally international rugby, there'd be a massive swing. I think it's up to like 6 points or something like that. And then they've also done studies that the away team miss tackles in the first 40 more than they normally do, when they play away. So,
Wow.
yeah, I know, weird PhDs getting done and all sorts of stuff, but it goes out the window, I reckon, with these two teams. We've seen it in Wellington with the Springboks. We've seen it with the All Blacks at Ellis Park, especially,
Good point.
where we have a good record. It's more just, like Watto points out, the pressure that will come on the referee from the rabid crowd. And I don't see the All Blacks playing badly just because they're overseas. I just see the external factors coming into it, like the refereeing, like the crowd pressure and all that stuff. I don't think the altitude thing's a big thing anymore for us. I think we should be able to deal with that quite well.
Well, we've beaten them at Ellis Park under the most precious circumstances of Ian Foster's reign, remember, and that was a hell of a win. And even in the first year that Razor was there, I think we had a 10-point lead going into the last 15 or something like that, didn't we? And Damien had a kick and missed, and so Australia went there last year, Mark, and racked up 30-something unanswered points in a row against them. So home advantage is, it's something that I always think about and think, okay, because I always think about it in terms probably of the Premier League. Liverpool are playing at home. I think they're a goal start. With that crowd behind them, it could be 2 goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the difference, though, for this is I think there's a difference between going over there and, say, playing a one-off rugby championship game between actually living over there for 5-6 weeks on a tour, playing midweek games in hotels, travelling. I think that there will have an impact, and I think it does give South Africa a little bit of an edge there. Look, I think the fact that the All Blacks haven't lost a game at Eden Park since 1994, I think says, look, there is a thing about home advantage. Look, I think the thing in South Africa, the crowds will be hostile. It'll be daytime rugby is another thing. What I don't want to see, and we've seen historically, is in some of those grounds, they will have the game going on the live screen, and their editors are in control of just conveniently coming back and picking up All Black skullduggery or little infringements at the breakdown, replaying it about 6 times, getting the crowd incensed, then making the referee have a look up, and suddenly we go into the TMO and suddenly we're looking back on it. But conveniently, any sort of little faux pas or indiscretions from South Africa are just conveniently ignored. So I don't want to see any of that. I don't think that sort of stuff should even be allowed on the grounds where some editors controlling replays and stuff and doing stuff. And they don't actually have it in the English Premier League, where they have contentious issues or big screens going, because they don't want to create riots. They don't want the crowds to sort of get too incensed. So look, I think there are a lot of factors, but that's the beauty, isn't it? And South Africa are going to have to come here in 4 years' time, and again, hopefully we go and throw them down there in Invercargill, and we go and then send them up to sort of north and take them to the west coast, take them to, just put them in these just murky parts of the world. I love Invercargill, by the way, but I'm going to have a crack at you. But take them down there and make life
you got to
tough
give them the
for
oyster. You got to give them the oyster treatment. That every single Lions tour that came here got the oyster treatment.
How good was
didn't
Rugby Park at the weekend, though, in Invercargill? Like, they love their rugby, don't they? That was just
Stag day.
incredible.
Brilliant.
How good was Lucas Casey, eh?
Yeah, incredible. Him and Christian Leo Willie, both bloody good.
He looked like a winger, though. But I know we're digressing here, but Lucas Casey, he is a Northland schoolboy 100, 200 and 400 metre champion. That's why when you give him 80 minutes, you ain't going to stop him.